Hey everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Rum and Cinema. Today, we're going to be talking about Hunger, now streaming on Netflix. Good luck finding it on Wikipedia. It's a paragraph. Idiots. You can find us on youtube.com/@rumandcinema. Subscribe to keep up to date with our newest episodes as we release them. You can also find us on TikTok @rumandcinema. Today, I'm joined by my guests, Nate and Jake. Jake, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great. I'm fresh off of watching this film. I wrapped it up about 10 minutes ago. And speaking of not being able to find this film on various sites, if you type in Hunger into iMDB, it asks if you want Hunger Games.
Yep. That was fun.
Yep. Tried to bring up the actors. It's like, nope, not that one.
Yeah, and half the actors are just the voices in English. Like, they don't even have every actor in here. It's wild.
Yeah. That is a small cast.
Yeah, I don't think 6 people were in this movie. There was more than that. Nate, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about this movie. I feel like we've been agreeing too much lately. From the text, I feel like we might not be agreeing on this one.
Nate's
That
a hater.
borders me.
Nate
I'm
hates
excited.
it. Is my guess.
I do. I actually
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
All right, well, let's do a quick intro for YouTube. We'll do a review, and then we'll go through the plot points. Here we go.
Yeah, we're getting so business-like. Where's the joy?
You know, that could be argued to be the theme of this movie.
Dang.
That's a good
If you weren't too
point.
busy hating on it.
No, he was looking for any joy watching the movie.
Was that... Which one of the 20 themes was that?
There's only 4.
That's too many.
How was 4 too many themes?
Yeah, what the fuck?
4 is not too many themes. 4 is too many main points of the movie.
There's like
4 is too many
We'll
Avengers.
get there. Jesus Christ.
4 is too many Simon and Garfunkels. All right, keep it to 2. Nate's on a Simon and Garfunkel Green Day for his themes of the movie. You got to be 2 or 3. You come at me with this fucking NSYNC bullshit, I'm out.
Just continue.
Hunger is a 2023 Thai drama where Oi, a woman in her 20s, runs her family's local stir-fried noodles restaurant in the old quarter of Bangkok. Nice. One day, she receives an invitation to leave the family business and join Team Hunger, Thailand's #1 luxury chef's table team, led by the famously ingenious and infamously nasty Chef Paul. Jake, what'd you think about this movie? What's your overall review of Hunger?
Overall, I loved the movie. I thought it was a cool personal journey of. I'm gonna mess this up every time.
Yeah, let's go with that. I
loved watching her personal journey throughout it. I loved the just as she goes through her, first adoration and then uncertainty and then eventually conflict with Chef Paul, who, by the way, he was a great caricature
Oh my
of a
god.
chef.
Yes.
And the culminating battle, because really all of the cooking that they do, like as the movie progresses, like the cooking escalates to a point where it starts to kind of become a caricature too. It gets unrealistic. It gets exaggerated first, and then in the final thing, you're like, okay, they're not even going for like realism here, but it was really cool stylistically.
Yeah.
And I think I loved just about everything about this movie.
I agree. So it was pitched to me through the internet as Whiplash meets The Menu, which I have some thoughts on how accurate that is, but I think as like an overall quick, elevator pitch to somebody to watch this movie, yeah, it was cool like that. Like, you get the mentor-mentee of Whiplash, you get the, eat the rich of The Menu a little bit. It's in a different limelight. It's more like people's expectations, I would say, or like a caste hierarchical system. I'm not sure how Thailand's set up economically, but I'm guessing it's something like this, and that might play a role into what we understand about it as dumb Americans who I never took an economy class in my life, and I think gas prices are the sole responsibility of the president of the United States. So
Yeah. Every day I go out with stickers for gas pumps. I'm doing my part.
So economically speaking, I am on the low end of the spectrum. But I still think that the movie was able to portray this idea of like what we should be doing with our lives in an interesting way that made me think about that kind of process. And it also had, like Jake said, really cool visuals. I love the music. The music felt really good behind it. The chewing was horrifying. Like the way that they portrayed rich people eating was awesome. It was very Triangle of Sadness.
You know, for someone who can't stand chewing, you sure pick a lot of chef movies.
No, I know Abby was
It's a
sitting there.
necessary evil.
Abby was like, when we watch Great British Baking Show, Abby's always like cringing when she hears the judges chew. And this whole movie, she was like, I hate everything about this. There's that scene in the pork makeout scene that she didn't like, and I agree, they were disgusting.
When you
Oh
when
my
you
God,
sent
that
that
was-
snap of the makeout, and I was like, and I was like, I mean, yeah, they're really going at, but and then I watched the movie and I saw the scene right before that, and I was like, okay, I get it.
When I realized you guys hadn't seen the movie, I was so excited.
Well, part of me, I was like, oh, maybe it's like a mentor-mentee thing, and Nate's like, ew, the power struggle, gross. But no, it was much more direct.
Right before that scene, we're like, are their hands still in the pork? And then we're like, they start kissing. We're like, no.
Fucking yeast infection, you're getting salmonella. All right.
Have you ever been so passionate that you got diseased?
Ooh, I think a lot of people have. Nate,
That's a unique vector.
So Nate didn't like this movie. Nate, tell us why.
All right, I'm gonna backtrack slightly and say that I love the.
When I was 4, I also wanted to have caviar.
I love the style of the movie. I loved the two main actors. Like you said, like Chef Paul was great. I really liked it, and always portrayal was more subtle, but like good. I love the food. Like I love watching them cook the food. I love the cinematography. I definitely love the music. The reason I'm upset about this movie is because it kind of goes back to what you said. Like, oh, it's like Eat the Rich, but kind of, but less. Like it keeps. I feel like the movie went through about 4 different messages and then completely undercut or contradicted them. So like thematically, I hated watching it. Every single time something happened, by the third one, I was waiting for it to get undercut, and it was driving me nuts. So that's my problem, is the movie doesn't know what it's saying. That's my opinion. I don't think that the movie had multiple things to say and it didn't do them. It doesn't know what it's saying. I feel like this movie was trying to emulate some of these recent movies and just like missing the point. And it just drove me nuts while I was watching it, to the point where I was having trouble enjoying it.
So
I'd say the back half was worse for me.
It's like the like, I'm going to tell you how life works from a 25-year-old instead of like a 50-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, fuck the rich. Except one of the characters, it just doesn't work in a story way. Like, I hated how Chef Paul got taken down, because that had nothing to do with the fact that, like, he's catering to the rich. He got taken down because he did something illegal. That's infuriating.
I don't think
but
that matters.
Also, only rich people are out there hunting illegal game for the purpose of,
Yeah, but that's like a cause and effect. It doesn't. That's what happens in real life. That's not like that's not a dramatic payoff for a story.
I don't think that was the dramatic payoff. The dramatic payoff is how Oi responds to it and how the patrons of Chef Paul respond to it. That's the payoff.
So I would say that the constant changing of themes, I think, was there because Oi is constantly, she's figuring out what she wants, and every time the theme changes, it's because she becomes disillusioned. First, she thought that, I want to be this, the special chef for rich people. I'm tired of working in this family restaurant cooking for poor people. It's not enough. And then so she joined Chef Paul. She becomes disillusioned. She's like, no, I want to strike it out on my own and you know and make my own name and be famous in that way and be rich, and then that doesn't work out. So as various,
I'll stop you right there. She
things,
does not choose to do that. She leaves because she's mad that he's like breaking the law. That's the only reason she leaves.
But at that time, she still wants money, fame. She wants to be Chef Paul. She's just doing it in her own way at that point.
And you can tell that because when Chef Paul comes to the restaurant, all she cares about is what he has to say about her food still. Like, she still wants to be
I wouldn't, like, I feel like you guys are, like, coming up with plausible explanations for why the movie happened the way it does that do not actually appear in the movie. That's my problem. I like your interpretation, but it's not what happened on screen. She did not leave Chef Paul because she was disillusioned. She was putting up with the abuse, and then he killed a bird that's illegal, and she said, no, that's against the law. And he said, who gives a shit? Like, he said, who gives a shit? How is this different from a chicken? And she said, it's not about that. It's about the law, and left. And then just went to the next option.
See, but I think it was disillusionment, and that was more of a final straw. Because there were other times before that where she was clearly, like, freaked out by this guy. And, you know, you could tell that she was having, you know, she doesn't say it. She's not a big talker. So a lot of what she's feeling in this movie, I feel like, came from them just showing her face.
Yeah.
She clearly had been having doubts about this whole Chef Paul thing, but she stuck with it because she wanted to do something more. And she thought that what he was doing was what she wanted.
I like your interpretation better than what I saw in the movie. Like, if that's what I guess in a more well put together film, if that's the case, then that wouldn't have been the final straw. Like, the line, but this is about the law, is not the point then. Like,
see, and I get what you're saying, especially in terms, like Ben, I think when you said, oh, it was the lessons of a 50-year-old coming from a 25-year-old, because I think that's probably where we get this almost rushed aspect, is in order to fit this journey of hers into a movie, she very quickly goes from cooking at a family restaurant to all of a sudden handpicked to be sous chef to this great, to all of a sudden having her own, you know, her journey goes very fast. And so it kind of gets like jumpy there. But I think that was probably just a necessity of, okay, we're going to squeeze this all into a movie.
I feel like they could have done, like, cut that scene and instead have one more scene of Paul being more abusive and going over the top. And that, if she had left because Paul was being abusive, that would have made perfect sense. And we would have moved on to the next stage. And I don't just want to nitpick on this one point. My point is, like, every decision, I feel like you could come up with an interpretation that sounds good, but when you watch the movie, that's not what actually happened. That's my problem. The same with, like, the sensationalism of the rich in the final scene, like, amazing duel between them.
Yeah.
And I liked the part about how all the, like, rich socialites just, like, went with the opinion, but, like, him getting taken down because he broke the law instead of because of his own hubris is just, like, such a failure of imagination.
I mean, it was his own hubris.
Yeah, I think that's his hubris.
He said, he was like, no, this is fine.
And his hubris continues as he's getting arrested. He says, I'm going to get out of
continues,
here.
But then he gets arrested. Like,
but did you hear what the patrons said as he left? The patrons told Oi, I always thought his food was pretentious. They already turned on him. He got canceled, essentially. I liked
I liked the canceling and, like, what their interpretation of it. I just didn't like the way that the way it played out.
Right.
Like, if it had played out, if that video had instead been someone else, rich and famous, saying that they didn't like his food, and then them all turning on him, would have made way more sense thematically. That's all they needed. Like, these little, if another influencer had been like, Chef Paul's like a piece of shit, and like I always thought his food was overrated, and then they all turned.
I think it hits harder because his hubris has not let him felt it yet. We're seeing him still at his peak, and he doesn't even know it's hit him yet. Like, that's how fast it turns, and that's how
that's exactly what the turn would have been. It just, instead of it being because he killed a bird, it would be because like some other famous person didn't like his food, and then he dropped right there. Like the most famous person didn't like his food or something. It just would have made more sense thematically.
I don't think he gives a shit about what they think, though.
See, and
but the turn would have worked exactly the same way.
He doesn't respect them. He's doing it to make them look like fools.
Yeah, that's why I don't get why it matters, because the point of it wasn't how he got canceled. The point of it was that something happened, and then all of the socialites turn against him. Actually, that one woman who was, what was her name? What did they call her?
Like Cleopatra. She was dressed up as Cleopatra.
Yeah, I don't know. She had some weird.
We're not finding her on IMDb.
Oh yeah.
But
Milky or something. Milky May.
Yeah.
Milky. Madam Milky.
Madam Milky. But so when because she was the one who said, I always thought his food was pretentious.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
She turned on him, but I think it kind of works that the reason of his downfall was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah. It's like a little thing that he thought he was fine with, and that we saw is the other important thing. This movie does a really good job of paying off things you see, and if you like pay attention, listen to dialogue. Not saying you didn't, Nate, but if you like when you pay attention and listen to dialogue, like it pays off at the end, and I really enjoyed that about this movie.
And I think it also makes a difference that he was removed at the climax of their battle. Because she didn't beat him in the cook-off in this challenge that was happening.
Exactly.
He just got removed, and she's stuck there dealing with it because at that point her sole driving focus was to beat him, and then she wins by default. Yeah. And then as she wins and she's the winner and she's looking around and everyone and then they start the next the next show, the next display that they're doing.
Yeah. I will say her dealing with the Hall of Victory was the most effective thing to me. Like that was her dealing with the aftermath after that of like realizing that this is all bullshit was obviously very effective.
I'm gonna provide a little context for the conversation about the bird.
And
then I'm gonna talk about the bird, and then we're gonna go through the plot, and we'll break down what we thought. So check us on the Rum and Cinema podcast for the full version of this, where you can go through everything we just talked about, or watch the movie and both. Yeah, come back. So it is a 15-year prison sentence or fine of up to $1.5 million for the Hornbill specifically. So it's like multiple articles saying like how this is like critically endangered and like it took like some turnover for it to actually happen. So I think that's something that like someone who is her age and like the way that she's presented, because like we see that she lives in the poorer parts, and like at the end of the movie you see like rats sharing space with them and like eating lettuce. Not saying that you're like a vegetarian or vegan and like you care about animals because you live with them, but you might feel like being non-elite, I think, allows you to feel like other things deserve like their fair shake. You know what I mean? So that might have
just for the record. Again, the dialogue of the movie undercuts that, though. She specifically says it's about the fact that you're breaking the law and nothing else.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like that's what's so frustrating to me. There's something that works in here, but it's undercut by the movie itself.
Okay,
that's what drives me nuts.
I'll agree with you on. I thought that was weird when that's why she quit. I did think that was a little
because you're used to the rules of storytelling, which aren't realistic necessarily, but they're shortcuts for us to understand what's going on. And they're like, no, that's not it. It's actually just because you're breaking the law. That's my problem.
Which is a more realistic one, which I do agree with too. It's like this is how it probably would happen. It's more grounded.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with. I don't have issues with like the jumping themes or or how it got taken down. But when watching it, I did think that was weird. I'm like, that's the last straw for you. And there was no other build up.
Yeah,
I don't
That's
think
what I'm
the
saying.
movie's littered with
It's littered with them.
But
I
mean,
Ben can go through the plot, and they'll come back to me.
I would also say, like, as a lower class person in a society that isn't the most like fair, it might be more terrifying to think about breaking the law. You know, like we see that they made the dad move his car so a rich person could park there. Like, you know, the laws specifically
I'm
apply to
swinging
you.
back. Ben brought me back. I stand by leaving because it's illegal. Because and at the end, Chef Paul thinks he flat out says, when you're rich and powerful, you're above the law.
Yep.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel that about
they
herself.
weren't worried about it. She was.
Yep. Exactly. Anyway.
I mean,
for the record, Nate, I want to hold on.
why
I
she
just
got away
want
with
to
it.
tell you, if you are still in this thought train for this movie, for this specific piece, you are backing the blue.
What?
We're gonna go with the plot. We open on a meticulous setup and prep in a kitchen.
I can't figure out what you mean by that.
You love cops. Based
He
on my
means he's gonna put a semi-transparent blue line flag over your video.
The Punisher logo in the top right.
I don't see how I'm not the opposite. I don't see how I'm not the other side of that argument.
What, you think the
It's
law
very confusing.
applies to everyone equally? And
You know
no
who
one
else
should be
hates
afraid
this
of
movie?
the law?
I'm not-
Cops.
I'm saying the main character was like, no, we have to obey the law. I agree with your point that it makes sense that it's scarier to her, but what comes across in the movie is that she's like, no, our job is to respect the law. That's why I'm confused.
I mean, it's a militaristic society, isn't it? Thailand? Again, this could be a cultural
You
thing.
can't just flip. You just that means that what I'm saying is the opposite of back the flip.
No, she wants to avoid the police, so she's like, let's just not kill this bird
Yeah.
and not deal with
Pretty
the police.
easy. Nate, how about
That's
Nate?
not
If
what
you're
Ben just said.
all right, Nate, hang on. If your job told you to break the law, would you quit?
Obviously
It
depends on
absolutely depends on the law.
Okay,
That question is too
something that
broad.
would give you 15 years in prison, because that's what she's looking.
It's not. I'm not saying that she's
Oh,
a bad.
okay.
I'm not saying that she is wrong in real life. I'm saying that's a terrible
This
thing
is my
to put.
mime
It's not
impression
a
of
good
Nate
thing to
getting
put in a
boxed
movie.
into his argument with logic.
I started with this. It's not about realism. It's about writing a movie that makes thematic sense.
But I'm saying that the realism makes it make sense when you step back and remember, and like if you don't think about it from a movie perspective, if you think about it from a life, like if this is a life story of somebody,
You
this
know,
would make sense.
I'm sorry, but I think about movies from a movie perspective. I only have an hour and a half to watch a movie. You can't show me every realistic thing because that would take 40 fucking weeks.
Well, you know,
They do throughout the movie try and portray her as, like the common person.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she tries to fit into this society. She thinks, and at the start, and for most of the movie, she does want to be, in this like higher part of society, and and be immersed in that. But it comes through that no, she's not. She's just, she came from a different background than all of these people, which is funny because Chef Paul also came from that same background, and that's why he chose her initially.
Yep.
And speaking of Chef Paul choosing her, let's talk about how that happened.
Oh, so, goddamn, we are professional. Hell yeah.
Smooth as fuck.
Oi is a noodle maker in a poor part of town in Thailand. She is given a card by a customer who invites her to Hunger, a restaurant. Oi doesn't know the restaurant, but her friends and family seem to know it well. They bring up the social media influencer, Chef Paul, and the comments he gets on his dishes. They're all very positive.
Very positive.
Very positive. Soy goes... Who's Soy? Oi.
I think
Google Docs kept changing
Did it say
Oi
so?
to
Oh,
Soy.
it's auto-correcting it?
God dang it. Oi goes to the kitchen to find out it is a tryout for Hunger. She is pitted against a sous chef from a restaurant who looks the part more than her in her well-worn clothes and small bag. They're tested to cook fried rice. Chef Paul smells each dish and kicks out the sous chef. And he's upset. The sous chef is upset.
That's this was my first moment in the movie where I was like, okay, any Chinese chef or Asian chef, sorry, any Asian chef in the world knows
any fucking person who's Googled how to make good fried rice.
Yeah,
that was infuriating.
And
I see you knew to go for the leftover rice. Okay.
That was, I don't know, because I'm like, it doesn't matter that, he received his training from the finest. No, it's fried rice 101.
True.
This is like, not something I was going to bring up as a complaint to the movie, but that was so infuriating.
Yeah.
Because all of us know, like, we all went to college in the same town, and the best Chinese place in that whole city was this little, like, shithole looking place with, like, a kid doing math in the corner who's like in 4th grade, who then takes your order, and then it's $5 for that and a can of soda because they don't have soda machines. It's just a cooler that you have to open and get it from, and then you're eating off mismatched forks and spoons and knives, not from the same set, on some dinner plate, and your dinner plate's way different than the dinner plate across from you, and that's the best goddamn Chinese food in that city, and you know it.
And they use leftover.
You're
rice.
goddamn right.
They use fried rice.
Yeah.
The second test comes in a birthday party for a general, where A5 Wagyu beef, big old rack of it, it was sick, will be served. In front of the rest of the kitchen staff, Chef Paul makes Oi cut in the beef, thinly, more thinly, not right, and fry it to perfection, and nothing less. Oi stays in the kitchen all night and finishes the test. Chef Paul tries it and quickly moves on to the rest of the staff for the party. At the party, Oi is approached by Tos, an entrepreneur and restaurateur. She gets a business card from him and pockets it.
Can I bring up a positive and a negative?
Let's hear it.
So far. And going back to like when I was initially watching this and going through it. Chef Paul's characterization immediately, where when he was satisfied, he didn't say anything. Like, he always, every time, as soon as he was happy, he just didn't say anything.
Yep.
Was great.
Yep.
Like, that's like a masterclass in like, I don't know, asshole protagonist. Like, it was great.
The first time we hear anything positive said to Oi about her cooking is Tos in her restaurant.
Sure.
And then he quickly moves on to like, hey, I'm going to get you in this thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting to back up your point,
Yeah. So yeah, I love that characterization. The thing I didn't like was here, like the shallow, like copy, I guess, of the angry mentor, where how did he didn't teach her anything. Like, there's no redemptive, there's no relationship here. All he did was fucking yell at her for 3 hours, and then she just like, he didn't, like, it doesn't make sense.
Have you seen Whiplash?
And the same as like the bear
yelling the same thing too. You know,
yeah, not explaining.
He was like,
we've all seen.
Don't
we've all seen the angry chef stereotype who teaches, but then he like imparts this wisdom on you. But it doesn't come across here.
Whiplash?
It's not. It's shallow.
Have you seen Whiplash? Have you seen Whiplash?
I haven't seen Whiplash. Actually.
I'll show you the scene after this, but there is a scene where the Miles Teller's on the drums and J.K. Simmons is the instructor, and he goes,
I think I've seen that scene.
Can you fucking count? 168, count it. No, in your head. And then he goes, faster or slower? Which are you dragging or are you rushing? To like, are you ahead or behind the beat? Dragging, slaps him. Are you dragging or rushing? Slaps him. Dragging or rush? It's that kind of like psychotic.
Yeah, except he's teaching. He's just yelling at him, don't saw it, don't saw it, don't saw it, don't saw it. It's not the same thing. It's a shallow imitation of an angry instructor.
At that point, too, I was waiting, because he's yelling and,
Yes,
because at first he was, like, yelling different things, but then I was like, oh, he's not teaching her yet. I was waiting for him to, because I'm like, oh, it'll be something cool. But, no, he never really taught her, is that I can remember.
No.
Yeah. His sole teaching,
like life lessons,
but too late.
Yeah, that's what he taught.
Like
purposely. His sole purpose was to explain the lessons that the movie wanted her to understand, and wanted us to understand. again, this is just where I have no patience for that. I'm like, no, that's show don't tell. Except he even has some leeway to tell because he's a teacher, and he still doesn't tell.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Tong, a junior sous chef, takes Oi out to see where in the local area the food they cook is farmed, caught, and prepared. He has a great rapport with the locals that the kitchen sources their food from. Oi starts to feel better about working in a luxurious kitchen that only the rich can afford by knowing where their food comes from and that the poor farmers are paid well.
Okay, let's stop again. I'm willing for you guys to explain to me why this is relevant. Why this contributes to the overall message of the movie.
She still has those roots, and it's still something that she cares about. She's not just immediately gunning for, I'm going to leave behind my poor family and try and integrate into this rich part of society. So it's one thing that assuages her when she's thinking, okay, at least this is doing some benefit. And even though the only people who eat my food are rich people who can afford it, it's still helping out the less fortunate communities.
Yeah, it's the have and the have-nots. Yeah. And you can see this juxtaposed with right after this scene is done, we cut to Tong presenting those things that he got from these farmers to Chef Paul, and all he has to say is, fresher next time. So he doesn't give a shit about it. It's, again, that juxtapose of the have and have-nots.
But that's the point of that scene is that Chef Paul does give a shit.
No, he doesn't. Because the only thing he cares about is the product. He doesn't give a shit where it comes from. He just likes the product.
The dialogue in that scene is that Tom. Chef Paul makes sure the dialogue in the scene is that Chef Paul made sure that the poor farmers were taken care of.
That's what Tong said. Because he wanted Oi to like
That's what Tong tells her. Okay, so he's lying to her. Is that your point?
I
think this is where I was willing to be convinced.
I think he's massaging.
Because it doesn't cotton at all with Chef Paul's character. What we're told about Chef Paul from Tong does not at all have to do with Chef Paul's character. If you're saying he's completely lying, I didn't feel that that's what was conveyed, and I could be convinced.
I think he was.
I don't think he's lying.
No.
Because I don't think he was lying because Chef Paul also has those roots of poor family.
Well, that's, again, what Chef Paul tells people. I don't think he actually cares about that at all. I think this whole thing for him, which is revealed, I think, later on, is like he just wants to see poor people or rich people act like poor people. That's all he wants, because he felt like shit from a from a rich person as a poor person.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any reason to think that he's lying about that. And in fact, when he says fresher next time, and that's all he says, it's just like you said. He's not really a man who praises anything. So
I took that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So him giving
here's my point. This is my point with the movie.
Acceptance, that's a good thing.
Right. This is my point with the movie. Jake interprets it as Chef Paul does care, but his character is he doesn't give out praise. Fine, except that nothing else we see. Chef Paul the villain does not work with this. And it could work in a movie if we eventually, Chef Paul was a villain, but he was a fallen villain. We're we see where he was coming from, but by the end, he just got overwhelmed by the, desire to be the rich person. But you need a little more at the end, because at the end, he's just nah, fuck it, I'm the devil. It doesn't make sense. And if he doesn't give a fuck, Ben, then this scene is pointless. It's completely, as an editor, I would have cut it out of the movie, because you're saying, oh, Chef Paul is kind of a good guy. I see where he's coming from. That's the whole point of that scene.
No, the point of the scene is to juxtapose the two. Juxtapose Oi's sense and sensibility.
Okay, the whole point of the conversation that Oi has. But the whole point of the conversation that the whole point of what
that Tong and Chef Oi have,
what Tong says to her about how he made sure that they were well paid,
is to make her feel good about Chef Paul. It's to make her feel okay about Chef Paul, because Tong wants Oi to stay.
Okay, I say neither Jake nor I thought that he was lying.
Sure.
And okay, I'm not trying to win an argument. I'm saying this is what drove me nuts is that I see the potential both ways, but neither of them were delivered on.
I think that's interesting. I think that's an interesting movie when it's done well like this. I think movies can do it very poorly, but to me, this was done well because I didn't think of it your way at all, and it's cool to see we can have different perspectives on it.
I'm trying to. I know there was some movie we did, and I didn't like it for the same reason that Nate doesn't like this movie, because I'm like, everything's up to interpretation, and it's too much.
Was it the Jesse Plemons one, where they end up doing the Oklahoma musical in the high school?
Oh, what's that called? We were just talking about this.
Something about dark.
The end of everything.
Yeah, something like that. Or I'm trying to end things.
I'm thinking of ending things.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that,
was
one.
a weird one.
It was a more recent one.
Okay.
But anyway, I get the point that Nate's saying, but to me, I didn't see as many things open to interpretation. Which that's because I interpreted it pretty directly, like this. The whole thing with I don't think the sous chef was lying. I don't think he did. So for me, that's not like a point up to interpretation. It's fine that Ben does think that, and it's fine that Nate sees that it's open to either interpretation. But for me, I don't think it is.
To be clear, I don't think it's open to interpretation. I think he was telling the truth. And my complaint is that then Chef Paul didn't deliver on he's a fallen hero. Because at the end, he's like, nah, I'm fucking evil and I hate you.
Yeah, like, he's fallen.
He's too fallen. You don't do that scene. You don't do that scene when they're too fallen.
But
I don't think it was open to interpretation. I can see what Ben's going for.
So that came up after there was another line between the people, the like natives that I don't think Oi could understand, and Tong, and they said, "Is that your girlfriend?" Oh, and then he's like, "No," kind of like sheepishly saying no. So I think he already was falling for her, wanted her to stay. He was like, she seems really like, I get where she's coming from. I know Chef Paul's background. If I say this, it'll work out for her staying.
That's fair.
Like extending it because he knows that she's.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, but I also don't think there's anything that suggests that like I think that's that interpretation is all external.
Mm. So them making out,
I don't think
wasn't like proof that he liked her, or you're not saying that was proof that was
this story.
I'm saying that. Yeah, I'm saying that there's nothing in the movie to suggest that
he
like it tracks. It tracks from our eventual.
He was lying.
I think
this is
I think we're shown that he's lying immediately after that scene when we hear him say dejectedly, "Fresher next time."
But did he deject it?
I heard it dejectedly. That's how I heard it.
No, but did he deject the fish?
I don't know.
What does Chef Paul?
What does dejecting the fish
next time?
Isn't the oyster they use the real long ones, not the ones in the small snail, and they showed the small one?
No. So every single time that Chef Paul that something wasn't up to his standards, what did he do?
He shit on it.
He violently shit on it, and he threw it, and he, So the fact that he just had a little comment and then walked away.
So you're saying that's like as close to praise as we're gonna get?
Yeah,
or pretty close.
Yeah. The closest. I mean, the best you get from Chef Paul's silence.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that's like a little comment about how to improve, and then quiet acceptance. That's the second best you're gonna get from him.
You're not getting scalded. No, okay, but all I'll say to fit my point. What I'm getting at is, I like your interpretation, Ben. It's interesting. I don't agree with it, because I think that it makes sense when we later find out that his background is that he came from a poor family and he wanted to like get into the upper echelons. This story with that context, like you're like, oh, that makes sense. But to me, my impression is where you have this idea for like, oh, the chef who was poor and like became obsessed with impressing the rich and yada yada. This scene goes in there to give them a sympathetic, like, oh, I see how they're still doing it, and that usually pays off with them like realizing that they have fallen at the end. This is the point. It's not that just that they are fallen at the end, but they realize it and they're like, oh, I fucked up, in a much better written way than that.
So you want like remorse?
And at the end of this movie, we get haha, fuck you. Yeah, but if that's the point, you don't put that scene in. It's pointless. There's no point to that scene for the Chef Paul arc or the Oi arc. There is no point
still,
to it.
It's still building sympathy for Chef
for
Paul
us.
at this point.
For us, we're watching. We're like, is he a bad guy? I don't know if he's a bad guy. And then we find out, as Oi does, that he is a bad guy. Like we're
Again, not in real life. Like in real life, pointless things happen. In a movie, you're not supposed to be like, oh, maybe he's a good guy, and then find out that no, he's actually just black. You're not supposed. That's not what's supposed to go.
You don't want any twists or surprises in any movie?
Well, no, they have to be super fucking weird if they're gonna be. And if it's any way rooted in realism, apparently Nate hates it.
If
it's too real, it's
you
too accurate.
Fucking claim cinephile. Every moment on the screen is precious, and you tell him.
Simply.
Yeah, I like her take. His take?
I think she agrees with me.
No. You would.
And what, do you also hate FedEx drivers?
Kind of.
I tried to mute the recording, but it took me too long to find out how to do it, so now you can just...
That would have been a loss.
Oh, no, this is all staying in.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is hilarious.
Works for me.
All right.
Where were you, Nate? Oh, I got it.
I think what I said, I think we're there. Like, I think that it was wasted time in a movie.
Fair enough.
Like, yeah.
All right. The second party is a bunch of crypto bros. Oi has no specials to do in service, so she cooks she's a cook helper. She is reprimanded by Chef Paul and proven in a humiliating way that she doesn't know her way around the kitchen when she's asking for more responsibilities. Oi and Tong hang out after the party at Tong's house, and Tong teaches Oi the things she doesn't know about cooking. This leads to salmonella-based makeout session. I had one more sentence.
Nope, you're not getting it.
I think it's unfair to say she doesn't know her way around the kitchen.
I mean, it was proven immediately because she couldn't chop like that one dude that just chops.
Yeah. No, I was going to interrupt and say, again, in what world, this is the same as the using leftover rice. In what world do you not know how to chop veggies?
She could chop it. She was
good. Do you know how she was chopping those veggies amazingly?
Yeah, it just wasn't as good as that guy.
Yeah, he just wasn't as good as the guy whose sole job is to prep veggies for one of the highest class chefs.
I give you that she was chopping them fairly fast, and for the record, using the right technique. But again, where the movie throws me is later when Tom's teaching her how to chop. He's like, curl your fingers in. Yeah. I'm like, A, she was curling her fingers in,
but she cut
and
herself.
B, everyone knows to fucking curl your fingers in.
She did cut herself, so
apparently she did at that point.
No, you could see she was kind of like this.
Talk to the movie, not me, about these inconsistencies.
I think it's an acting thing. I think
that was just mansplaining as part of the couple's dynamic, and she let it happen.
She fucking loved it.
She wanted to have salmonella. Oh my god!
She wanted Porky the pig to be the three-way.
That was also it was beef.
Was it? No, it was chicken. It was chicken.
That's actually not as bad.
Pork. It was pork. It was a pork steak.
No.
Remember?
I thought it was pork, which is what scared me.
See, I thought it was some of that Wagyu.
Oh, it might have been.
Maybe it was.
Oh, well, you can touch me. You can touch me with Wagyu fingers.
No, I think it was the pork. No, because it was a pork steak.
Yeah,
it's
a natural lube. It's so fatty.
No, it's a pork steak.
I'm back out.
$200.
I'm about to look because I'm 95% sure it's Wagyu.
I'll bet you. 3 points in the game coming up. That's a lot. You don't know yet, but that's a lot of points.
Oh, no.
I mean, that works for me.
All right, so I'll keep talking about
it. All right, Ben, this is a rare chance to power through the plot.
Yep. Chef Paul confronts the staff about missing ingredients from the kitchen, saying a thief cannot be a cook. The soup chef takes the blame, but is implied that Tong is actually the thief. The soup chef is fired. The sous chef takes over Oi and the soup section, and Oi is given the opportunity to sous chef the next party, one for a small girl's family.
I just call myself out. I'm so like amped up and like confrontational that when you said the soup chef, I almost corrected you, and then I realized that he was the soup chef, not the sous chef.
I saw. I like hesitated as I said it, and I was like, "No, that's right," and I kept going.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, this is stupid.
Yeah, this one is actually up to interpretation. I am curious. Did the soup chef take the blame for some reason, or
I don't
did
know
he
why.
Also steal shit?
I have no idea.
It was the Wagyu.
no shot. All right, you get 3 points.
I believe Jake.
I don't. 3 points.
Yes, and you were talking about why the other
sous
chef
chef took
said
the
it was
blame.
him.
Yeah. No idea.
I don't know.
One of the many
I got
mysteries.
Because he wanted an excuse. Oh no, that's a different
He
chef.
wanted an excuse to leave. Maybe he was sick of it.
He didn't seem happy.
He's never talked. They said specifically.
Well, okay, I'll give you. Taylor thought that maybe he thought he could get away with it because he had been there so long. Because he says, "I've been here so long."
True.
And he was trying to like just cover for his. Maybe he didn't know who it was, and he was just trying to cover for everyone.
True. That's a good point.
Or they were both filching.
That was my initial interpretation, is that he had also stolen something, because he said foie gras was stolen and Wagyu, and we only saw Wagyu.
True.
Also, he said a pound of beef, and I'm like, that was way more than a pound.
Yeah, bro.
That was a big fucking.
Well, they had the party, and then whatever's left.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no question that Chef Paul's a prick.
Yeah. The next party,
he wasted a pound of beef just to be an asshole.
Yeah. The next party is in a small apartment where two adults seem a bit off, and the kid is just being a kid. They are served their meal, but the chef panics and starts the soup over with just tap water and ramen packets. Oi doesn't feel good about it because they paid a lot for this meal, and they are being served this. We find out later that the sous chef put shrimp in the soup, and the little girl has a shellfish allergy. When confronted about this, the sous chef is berated by Chef Paul, when the sous chef then stabs Chef Paul. Again, one sentence left, Nate. One sentence.
Yeah, Nate.
I'm too excited. This is
another time where they don't explain why did the sous chef put the shrimp in the dish. They never actually explain it.
Maybe he was trying to take a hit out on the guy.
Explain that one.
Wait, why?
Oh, go ahead.
I think he said something. Oh, it was because he said that Oi was going to be the head chef for the next. After he fired the soup chef,
yep.
He said Oi's going to be the head chef, and the sous chef will take over as soup chef.
Yeah, soup and Oi's.
And Oi, and that's the Frank.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was the reason.
He was
that's the most clearly explained thing. No, my problem is this scene again. The family. Why? There are so many things going on here. We see Chef Paul initially confused, but being a hero, which, for the record, Taylor fucking called. He sniffed this thing, and she was like, "Oh, I bet she has an allergy." Like a fucking psychic.
Farthest thing from my mind at that time.
Well, after he dumped it and then he started making it, I was like, "Oh, I see what you're going for." But like, it took me a minute to catch up to her.
So I was in the mindset where he was an asshole, and I thought he was doing it because he didn't think they deserved it. Like the people.
That was my initial feeling. And you know what? That would have been a cool fucking point. Yeah. And instead, we got the straightforward shit that has nothing to do with the rest of the plot of the movie.
But hold on, he got stabbed. That was the reason he could get stabbed. Then they put him into the hospital. Then we see the hospital between the good and the bad.
It's not a good reason for why it. You can't explain why a plot point is good because it helped more of the movie. Yes, that is literally a recurring joke. That's literally a recurring joke in pitch meetings, making fun of bad plot points. Why did that happen? So the movie can happen. That's not a good reason.
Yeah, that's called storytelling.
What?
One thing leads to another.
I feel like you're purposely trying to make me mad.
I'm not. I don't know.
Didn't you study film?
Yeah. What's the side here? I don't get it.
I'm saying the reason that the soup sabotage happened is good because it caused further things to happen.
Yeah.
No, like, what's the point? What does it contribute to the story?
That.
Other than it causing things to happen. No,
the whole movie.
Why? Not because.
The whole movie is so.
I feel like you're just attacking the notion of causality, which is.
I am attacking the notion of random causality in a movie. Yes, I am. That's
all right. So to you, it makes sense that the chef sabotaged the soup. You explained to me why it happened.
Yes, it does make sense.
So it makes sense that it happened, and it moved the story along. But you're mad that it happened and moved the story along.
No. I'm talking about the family scene. Why? Okay, because I feel like I'm going crazy here. in a movie, we don't see everything that happened. We see important things that happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, this family, this like failed rich guy who paid for this final last meal with his family. That's dramatic.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But it doesn't have anything to do with any of the messages.
Did you watch the rest of the movie? They kill themselves,
Yes,
right? He kills everyone that's there.
Yeah.
Oi finds out. She remembers seeing Chef Paul pocket a whole bunch of money. So she, again, further distances herself from who he is. She's further seeing who he is as a person and who he truly is. So it's distancing.
He didn't know they were going to kill themselves.
He knew what he was charging. He knew they were in debt.
He knew that they were out of money and this was their last meal, and he chose to. I don't think she would have done that. I think she would have said, "No, I'm not going to take your money and cook for you.
Yeah.
Go."
Because the wife seemed
get your family an apartment.
I read the wife's emotions during that dinner as she agreed to what was going to happen next.
That she didn't want to live as a poor person.
Yeah.
So she just rather that the family enjoy a final meal of luxury and then be taken out.
Yeah.
Initially, sort of on a tangent. Initially, when he smelled the stock and then dumped it and then made the ramen broth, I thought he was saying the stock you made is so bad that I'm just gonna make ramen broth and it's better.
I thought that too. Yeah, that was a little bit of what I thought could have happened.
Okay, what we initially started arguing was that we thought that he was saying it wasn't good enough for these people because they weren't rich or whatever. We said he threw away that stock and was like, fuck it, they'll just eat ramen, which was also my initial impression. I think it was.
Go ahead. Oh, I think because it was right around that scene where he kind of has his, not a meltdown, but when he goes off on Al and says that only rich people deserve to eat his food.
Yeah, it's before that. Yeah, because the soup chef steals his stuff and then he says only rich people deserve and then fires him.
Yeah,
and then we do the soup. Yeah. Okay. So what I was getting at, the whole start of this most recent outburst was, Ben said, I thought that he was through it and was like, fuck this, these people aren't rich, they don't deserve it, I'm just going to give them ramen. Which is what I initially thought as well. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting for his character. And my point is, it turns out that's not the case. Actually, a completely separate thing, that the soup was poisoned, takes place. And what I'm saying is, we're imparting meaning on this scene that isn't there because we're like, oh, this is what makes sense thematically. This is what it's saying to us, is that he looks down on these people. It's not. He was fucking defending their lives. We were reading meaning into this scene that didn't exist, and instead we were just seeing something happen. That then...
So, it lines up with his principles. They paid him a lot of money for what they wanted as a world-class meal, and he provided it.
It does line up with... He acted exactly as he would normally act in several meals, which is why this is not important. It's just kind of exciting. It's not important. It doesn't contribute to the themes of the movie.
I think you're just mad that every guess of yours was wrong.
I'm mad that the guess was unpredictable. It didn't follow thematically. It's just some random thing that happened. The sous chef poisoned the meat soup, and so we saw that happen. That's not storytelling. That's just saying things that happened.
What's interesting too is, because the girl died, I guess the chef wouldn't know.
Wouldn't have known that was what was going to happen.
I don't think the chef knew that they were going to die.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I think the chef probably didn't care either way.
The sous chef who did the sabotaging.
No, the Chef Paul. I don't think Chef Paul knew that the family was going to die. I don't think...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
I don't think so.
But I don't think so. I don't think it's important that he knew. Because, again, I just think he's... Yeah, you pay me... And because he told that chef, if you want to eat, pay me the money. That's all he cares about.
Yeah.
In terms of that transaction.
Yep.
While staying in his
I agree.
luxurious hospital bed in his loft, looking over the city, Chef Paul is visited by Oi, who learns of the chef's villain origin story. He was the son of a maid who wanted to see what his family she was working for's caviar tasted like. He was caught, and his mother had to work weeks to pay it off. He found the caviar to taste like shit.
Has anyone had
Lost my
caviar?
place. Yeah, not great.
Yes. I
salty.
enjoyed it.
It's like salty balls.
I enjoyed it. So, how did you eat it?
On a cracker. And sushi.
Okay. Do you know if it was good caviar?
Probably not. It's like a $25 roll. So, no. I'm going to guess it was garbage. It was probably the, like, McCormick's of caviar.
I had a pretty decent caviar, and it was good. I liked it. I'm glad I got to taste it. Is it something that I bought? You know, I don't think it's dependent on my income. I don't think I don't like it enough to get it. You know,
Right.
You know, I love food and eating, so I'm always down for the experiences. So I'm glad I tried it, and it was good. It's just not good enough for me to be like, ooh, you know what sounds good? It's fucking caviar.
Yeah. Exactly.
Very fair.
He says that the poor eat to end hunger, and the rich eat and become hungrier, which I thought was a really, like, very much summed up what I'm thinking he thinks about what he does. You know what I mean? He's not doing it for the food. He's doing it to say fuck you to rich people and just get what he can from them.
And that's shown when people eat his food too, because people every time people eat his food, from literally the first scene in the movie until his final dish that he cooks, it becomes visceral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go hard.
Like it's
hilarious.
Yeah, it's good visual storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Oi leaves for home to find her father has had a heart attack and is in the hospital. Oi's family's experience in the hospital is much different for her father than for Chef Paul. It's a madhouse with not enough beds and the sick laying side by side waiting for him. On a trip with hunters, Chef... Go ahead.
I was going to say, that scene was great in the hospital because it made me anxious.
Oh my God. I was like...
Like the yelling and the crowd and the way that the camera was like kind of under that, you know? So like it's like you were smothered in the crowd.
So uncomfortable. It was really well shot.
Oh, this is
frantic cuts.
It was kind of a trip too, because I typically assume anywhere other than the U.S. healthcare is going to look better than us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
Oh, what is that?
Are we the worst of the first world countries in healthcare, or are we the best of the third world?
You know, my dad always said, buy the worst house on the best street, not the best house on the worst street. You know? On a trip with hunters, Chef Paul takes his crew and the hunters to take out an endangered bird and eat it. Chef Paul seems to not feel bad at all. Food is food, while Oi takes exception and quits. She reaches out to Toss, who creates a restaurant around her. She begins to serve and finds great success. Oi starts to lose contact with her family. And
well,
go ahead.
I'll mention here. So, Toss is very excited
Pumped.
to work with her. He doesn't care about her cooking
At all.
He says, he never once mentions her talent or her cooking or her food or anything. He says, you're young and you're beautiful, and I can make you a star.
Yeah.
I liked how you worked that walk.
Oh yeah, that fire got me going inside.
So, and you know that he's referred to by other characters, you know, as great businessman and all these connections and all that, and it's, I mean, it's true. We see him immediately create success with her, but it's like later on, you know, when she wants Toss to help out Tong, he says like, oh, there's a million of him. Like, I know he works hard. I know he's a good cook, but also I don't think he particularly values her cooking either. No. Other than, oh, your cooking is good enough, and you're young and beautiful.
You bring something else. He says you have to bring something to the table. He says that later.
Again, it's again, just another confusing point in the movie to me in terms of the storytelling.
Cause and effect.
Yes, I immediately I agree. Like, he's like, you're beautiful, You stand out. I'll make you the most beautiful chef in the world, is what he says. And then later, when she's preparing her menu, he's like, this food doesn't represent who you are. I want to see more of you. That seems like a very insightful thing. And like he's like, I didn't hire you to cook Chef Paul's food. I hired you to cook your food. He also says this in the movie.
He's a good restaurateur.
What?
Like, he's a good restaurateur.
Yeah, sure. But my point is that contradicts the point that he doesn't give a shit about her cooking or what she thinks. Okay, it's just a scene that like completely contradicts the impression we get initially.
It's not like all or nothing.
He knows that Diet Chef Paul isn't going to be able to compete with Chef Paul, which is his goal. He's the one who set up that showdown.
Yep.
And so he knows that it has to be something different than Chef Paul's
This is why I'm
style.
saying this movie is so like interwoven, and like it has all these strings, and it does such a good job of like paying the strings off the way that I was watching it. You just gotta like go back and forward a little further than Nate wants, so he's upset about it.
Fuck off.
Always starts to
every time you're thinking something is a negative about this movie, Nate, just know that it's actually a positive.
Yeah, and it happened
from a certain point of view.
And it definitely like was talked about earlier in the movie and pays off later in the movie if you go far enough. Oy starts to lose contact with her family and Tong. She starts to become more like Chef Paul along the way, berating her staff and requiring perfection. Tong and her aren't talking as much, and Tong can't see himself working for Oy as his restaurant is going under. She takes a break to call her family, who don't seem to have time for her either, when Chef Paul comes in to the closed restaurant. He tastes her dishes and only leaves her with the problems of being a star and a challenge of sorts for the birthday party they are catering together.
Okay, so what was Chef Paul's motivation in this scene?
To scare her.
To scare her, not
Intimidate
to
her.
relate to her.
No, intimidation. Okay.
I think he also wanted to see her food.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. He definitely wanted to see her food. It's just a matter of, was there any, like, it comes across as him, it could come across as him wanting to relate to her and say, like, this is what it's like. He keeps saying, these are the lessons I'm going to teach you. Is he actually trying to teach her a lesson, or is he just trying to intimidate her and fuck with her head?
If he wanted her to be ready for what she was about to go into, he would have told her this earlier. Like, he's telling it at a point where she can't use it at all, and that's why I think it's just fucking with her head.
So he's just pure evil.
He's
I don't think because also I think
his motivations right here are pure evil. Yeah.
I don't think a good character only has one explanation for why they do something. I think it's fair to say he wanted to fuck with her, and on a certain level he could now finally relate to her, as he couldn't relate to any of his other chefs that he worked with for years because they weren't stars. They were always an appendage of his. And now finally one of these chefs that he was semi-close with, that he worked with, is also a star. So he can talk to her about those things.
Worked there for 6 days.
Was it really 6 days?
I don't think we know.
It's not. We don't know.
We don't
know. We could have skipped over some dinners, but like.
Well, one thing that did make me roll my eyes at like near the start of the movie was she went to go. It was when she first started working there, and then they had the scene where, because she finished cooking there, and then she was back still cooking at the family restaurant.
Yeah.
And then she went out to do the fishing and I'm like, so she works at 2 restaurants and goes out to collect ingredients.
Yeah.
That's like 2 full-time jobs, more than full-time, because chef work is like 12 plus hour days.
Yeah, it's not clear what the hours are with Chef Paul.
Yeah. It seems to kind of be like, I don't even know that he has No, he does have a restaurant. But it seems like he does a lot of private stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, the private
So
stuff.
Yeah, it seems like he does private. Yeah, okay, so, again, my read of what you just said, personally, is that I like your interpretation, and I don't think it's what the movie was. I don't think what we saw in the movie adds up.
So I think if you saw the movie how I saw it...
So why do you think Paul went to her restaurant?
Who, me?
No, Nate.
Me. I think that he was going there to relate to her. Like I think he went there to, like, as I was watching it, I read it as, well, relate and like tell her that she was never going to be as good as him. But I didn't get it in terms. I didn't think that it was there to like throw her off her game. I think he went there to say like, this is our life now, and I'm better.
I don't think he had any reason to want to throw her off her game, because he, at that point, he was not worried about her.
Also, he was objectively better.
And
we'll get to the final battle. But.
He had no doubt in his mind that he was going to win.
I agree.
And to be honest, I think it's obvious that he would have won.
Yeah.
And especially in light of his last dish, which I'm not going to spoil, but the last dish he served, I think, proved that he was the winner.
Yeah, I agree.
But
so there's a final birthday party in the movie, catered by Chef Paul Andoy. They battle dish after dish until the police come and seize Chef Paul.
All right, we're going to talk about these dishes.
Battle dish after dish.
Dish after dish.
So the first dish was Oi's dish, and it was, I mean, you know, her whole thing was the flames, you know, the fry master. And in the style of her restaurant, because there's very much the visual component, just big old flames coming up, and so she makes a spectacle of these giant flames shooting out of her wok, and she serves the dish, and it's delicious. Then Chef Paul responds, everything turns red, and a big cow carcass descends on a hook from the ceiling, and everyone's just in awe watching it. And he goes up, and he has it's not a sword, but it's not a knife either, and he just starts hacking at it, and it's like, it's almost, he's not carving it, he's not cutting it like a chef, he's just hacking at it, and then he sprinkles it with seasoning. It's, you know, and because he calls the dish the sacrifice, or the ritual,
a sacrificial.
Yeah.
But
and then so it's like he's preparing this animal for sacrifice, and he finishes it by just igniting the whole thing. So it's this giant hanging carcass that's been seasoned, and it's just on fire in the middle of this room, and then he slices it and serves it up. Oh, and he feeds the influencer just the first piece of it. So he just flat out destroys what Al made with sheer presentation. Because at that point, it's irrelevant how good it tastes. I'm sure it's delicious, but he won just off the presentation alone.
Yep. And you literally see the bones cleared after, like, everything is gone. Every bit that could be eaten was eaten.
And she knows she can't compete with that presentation anymore. So she goes the opposite route of, you know, cooking with love, cooking, you know, for family and for the heart. And she makes the crybaby noodles. Yeah. You know, it's talked about and made a couple times throughout the movie, and it's the old family recipe, you know, passed down by grandma. You make it when the kid is crying, and it makes them feel better. And it's peasant food. She's literally makes it with sausages and like dried prawns, and, you know, it's very much, you know, something that somebody would make at home. And she makes it, and you think, oh, she's gaining the upper hand because she's cooking with love and doing all this. Then I love this part. Chef Paul busts out his carafe of what I assume is ramen broth.
Yep.
Again.
Yep.
So it doesn't show him making it, but it's the same container. He has a shit-eating grin on his face when he catches Al's eyes, and he calls it out too, because he says, to help cut the oil.
Yeah.
Let's have some soup now. So he's saying, you know, to the people, like, flat out, oh yeah, this will be better, you know, to help ease that. And then he feeds them just, again, powdered packet ramen broth, and they are loving it. And that's when he walks directly over to her and says, it doesn't matter what you make. These people walked in here and decided I won.
Mm-hmm.
They know who I am. They want to eat my food. It was, the food doesn't matter, and that's what he's learned, and that's what he's been trying to teach her. I think he likes to cook. I think he loves being a chef and making these foods, but he also knows it doesn't matter what he serves. People will love what he serves because it's from him. So they've already decided that it's just this immaculate cuisine.
True.
And so that's why I think he won. I don't. He served powdered packet ramen broth, and everyone loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he can cook up that. I assume it was a Wagyu carcass.
Yeah.
That's what I assumed. But it doesn't matter because he can serve anything. And like he said, the influencers have decided that he was already the winner because that's who they knew before.
Mm-hmm. It's not about the food. So Tong taped Chef Paul during that hunting expedition where he killed an illegal, or cooked up an illegal killed animal.
Sorry, I thought we were going to talk about it.
You can. No, you're good. Go.
Sorry, I thought you might want to. Yeah, okay. I fully agree with the, that message. That's what the movie was conveying. That, it didn't matter. For the record, loved the, presentation throughout this whole thing. I really liked the presentation on the carcass was very, with the theme of the party. To me, I was like, oh, Chef Paul is giving them what they want. They were all dressed like these Roman things. He literally was like, this fit the theme. It was like, they're gods. He's like, I'm gods, and I'm giving you
and with him feeding the influencer, elevating her.
That looked like a scene out of 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Again, where I come back to is, what does the movie think about this? Is it good or bad? It looked awesome. It looked really cool. But does the food matter or does the food not? Because it seems, I agree with you that his point at the end is the food doesn't matter. But it seemed like the food fucking mattered quite a bit throughout the movie, including the fact that all of the rich people came onto her side when she served them the crybaby noodles made with love. Does it matter or does it not? Because if it matters, they should have rejected her. Unless they're totally vapid. But, and maybe that's fine. Maybe they're just vapid and they're literally going to think it's cool no matter what, which is,
I think that's
a fine social commentary.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
I think
not very, I don't think it's very interesting.
Wait,
that's like Black Mirror. That's like the
for
American Black Mirror to me. It's not an interesting point.
Are you saying they should have rejected her because of the noodles?
Yeah, I'm saying if presentation's all that matters, they either should not have cared, or if they're completely vapid, I'm just okay, yeah, I don't think that's interesting anymore. To say that people social media influencers are vapid. It's not. I don't find that interesting anymore.
And I don't think Chef Paul was saying that the only thing that matters is the presentation. I think Chef Paul was saying, when you've hit my level, then no matter what you serve, people are going to think it's amazing.
Yeah, he thinks he's above the law, and he's above all these other people. I guess
she's above the law too, then, though, because she's the one who served the crybaby noodles, and they all fucking loved it.
But they didn't love it until they had it.
But they loved it because of the food,
yes.
And they even were commenting while they were eating it, oh, it looks so plain, but it's delicious.
Okay, so are they vapid or are they not? Because they were able to appreciate it even though it didn't look good, and yet they immediately turned on her.
I think it's fair to say it's fine for both. I don't think they're one-dimensional people who only care about either taste or presentation. I think they probably like both, just like everyone.
I agree, just like everyone, but I don't agree with. That's not how they were presented. We talked about at the end of this how they just moved on. At the beginning, we were talking about at the end of the party, they just moved on to the next thing. like the next shiny
Yeah,
thing.
and that's exactly how it played out in the battle. They loved every. You know who was winning the battle at any given time?
Whoever
The person
was.
who most recently served the dish.
Mhm.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then, yeah, because then there was something new and shiny to move on to, and they'd move on to it.
Just like they moved on to Oi
Cause-
as soon
yeah.
as they found out that Chef Paul was out.
Mm. Fair.
So Chef
says, "Talk to the
Chef
hand."
Paul was drug out by police officers. Tong made the video. Seeing what the future has for her, Oi walks home with her walk in hand. She is greeted by her dad, who embraces her as she cries. She takes her spot back in the old noodle shop and says, "This is my restaurant."
And the dad says, "I'm not dead yet."
Yeah, bitch, right here. God damn.
Here, again, she ends with, "This is my restaurant. Here, I'll build my menu. Brother, you'll do my social media." Very
Yeah.
confusing way to end on me. To me.
She
I
knows
know, I
both
don't-
are important.
She learned from Chef Paul. Hey, some of the social outreach does matter, and it'll help the restaurant. She also learned, because at first she didn't want to take over the family restaurant, but then she's like, you know what? I can take it over and make it my own. That's because she wasn't even thinking about making her own dishes beforehand. When she was cooking and they're calling out. It sounded like there were 2 dishes that they made.
Yep.
And that's all they were calling out. 2 orders of this, 1 order of this, 2 orders of this. And now she comes back, new skills, and she goes, I'm making new dishes, I'm doing the new menu, you're going to run the social media.
So is she going to open a trendy restaurant in the her poor neighborhood?
Yeah,
in
Nate, we
Bangkok?
all know the next step of capitalism is gentrification, all right?
She's
Fucking
gonna
figure it out.
gentrify.
Yeah, we're not saying it's going to be good. I'm just telling you what's going to happen.
I mean, speaking as the person who would go to that restaurant in the poor neighborhood in Bangkok, if I was visiting Thailand, still, I find it obnoxious.
Yeah.
How would you even know about this hidden gem in the poor district of Thailand if she didn't
Her brother's
make a
social media.
website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it was such an encapsulation of this movie that, again, she turned to her brother and she's like, "We're gonna need you too." And I leaned to Taylor and I was like, "For the love," and she was like, "For your social media skills," and I was like, "What?" Kept me guessing. I'll give you that.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps you on your toes.
I just don't. Yeah. What do you want? Is
What do you
it about the love or is it about the social media presence?
It's both, Nate.
It's not
Two
both.
things can exist at once.
Two things cannot exist at once.
Speaking of existence, what would you drink with this movie, Nate?
Oh, I feel like I would drink that $6 milk tea.
Yeah, the boba.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that, yeah, the one that he gave, the 200-year-old coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Jake, you got one?
I want coffee that
I got
from
nothing.
Thailand that monkeys ate and shit out the beans. And
Yeah,
I would pay
I've never
$12
tried
for
that.
it.
Hell
Yeah.
Was it?
I said tap water. Maybe that was funny.
Mm,
But
not
I
in
like
Bangkok.
I like the $6
Ramen
milk tea
broth.
better. Yeah, ramen broth. Hell yeah. That's good.
Hey, those packets hit sometimes.
Dude, they fucking slap.
Bye bye.
No, that's an editing note for me for later.
For that weird silence.
No, it's worth.
So,
It was on
what are you-
purpose.
are you
I'm gonna
gonna
cut
take
to
the
the
initial
game.
Fill it with
argument?
dogs
We're
barking.
gonna do the game. Next.
Right.
Anyway, what were you gonna say, Nate?
I was gonna say, are you gonna take the initial debate at the beginning and cut it into the appropriate places?
No, because that's a 10-minute YouTube video right there, and then I have the full.
Oh, you're just gonna cut the whole thing?
No,
Okay.
just the movie review part. I do that first, and then I make that 10 minutes. It gets more clicks if it's shorter, because 2-hour-long
Your
clips.
social
No one's gonna
media
watch.
acumen. No one gives a
You mean
fuck
people
about
don't want to see the 3 of us bitching about a movie that they have no context for 20 minutes? You're wrong.
A movie that no one will search
You're
for in the first
absolutely
place
wrong.
because even IMDb
No
doesn't
one's
have anything
fucking
on it.
watching this movie.
Yeah.
But they should.
I was so mad. I'm like, if I directly type in verbatim the title of a movie into IMDb and hit enter, it should take me to that goddamn movie page.
That's how you know how indie we are. is we found the autocomplete.
You're not exactly playing the hits.
Yeah. Speaking of playing the hits, let's play a game. So here's the game. It's called They Did What Now? I give you an actor, actress, or director, and you give me their 4 known 4 movies under IMDb. So it's kind of the opposite of what we did last week.
This is the game I thought we were playing once.
Yeah. Family Feud style, though. So you get 3 strikes. The ability to get 3 wrong and still keep going. Sorry, on the 3rd wrong, you're out. But you can bank at any time also. So if you feel like you just want to take the points, you can bank it. But if you do, the other person gets 3 strikes to finish the rest of them that you didn't attempt. Otherwise, if you go through all 3, you get 0 points. But the other person only gets 1 guess to get 1 point on that round. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Jake, you have 3 points from being correct about the
Bank.
Wagyu. No, yeah, you
I'm
got him.
banking and parking.
You got him. So Nate is going to go first.
What?
Remember earlier we made that bet about the Wagyu, and I said Jake would get 3 points in the game if he was right?
I thought that was punishment only.
Oh, no.
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 I remember Nate saying double or nothing.
Nate quickly confirmed it.
Edit it in. Edit it in.
I remember Ben saying that Jake doesn't get an additional save at the end.
What?
I remember Ben saying that Jake doesn't, because he got these 3 points, you're not going to fuck up the rules at the end so that Jake can still win.
Oh, no, I'm still going to fuck up the
What
rules
do
so
you-
Jake can win.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Nate, you get the first one.
We've gotten to the point where I need handicaps at the beginning and at the end.
I'm trying to figure out how to work Google Docs on my phone. Hold on. There we go.
Oh.
Okay.
Did you try scrolling down?
I had to open a link and it wouldn't open. Now it's open. Okay, so your first person is director Quentin Tarantino. Nate, give me the names of the 4 movies in the known for section of Quentin Tarantino.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction is correct. That's 1.
Kill Bill Volume 1.
Kill Bill Volume 1 is incorrect. That's strike 1.
Alright. Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs is one of them. That's 2.
Let's see. What else would we want? Recent stuff.
You have 1 correct, 1 strike, and 2
Yeah,
correct.
I have only one strike.
Yep.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That is correct. That is the 3rd movie. 1 more to go with
All
1
right.
strike.
Kill Bill Volume 2.
That is
Just
strike
that Jake
2.
can't do it. Alright, I'm done. I'm banking.
All right.
What's...
So Jake.
Oh.
So Nate gets 3 points. Jake, you get 3 guesses at this movie. The 4th one.
What are the 3 he did?
He did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Pulp Fiction, and Reservoir Dogs.
Django.
Strike 1.
Inglorious
That
Bastards.
is strike 2.
Fuck, I'm out of movies.
All right. He was a writer on From Dusk Till Dawn. That is his 4th.
Fucking IMDb.
I know. They always get you with one
You're
stupid.
never going to get the 4th.
Yeah. So now it's 3-3, which means, Jake, you're going to lead off this next one. Your actor is Paul Rudd. What are Paul Rudd's known for?
Fuck. I don't know.
Oh, so many terrible options.
Paul Rudd. You can look him up if you need to see his face. Just his face, though. Just Google images only.
You can't picture Paul Rudd's face.
I mean, listen. It's a hard game, okay? You're on the spot. Literally recording.
Some of us have face blindness.
And Nate.
Okay.
Some of us don't have lives.
If it's not Ant-Man,
Ant-Man is in there.
okay. Ant-Man 2.
Ant-Man 2 is in there. Family.
Are there 3
I'm going
Ant-Mans?
Family Feud style rules. Like, if you're close enough, I'm going to give it to you.
This time
And
for the
3.
Ant-Man 3 is strike 1.
I'm not gonna embarrass myself by guessing a random movie, so I'm just gonna bank.
All right, good choice. Bank for 2, Nate. You
we got Ant-Man 1 and
3
2.
strikes.
Anchorman.
Strike 1.
Seriously?
Absolutely.
Which one was he?
He's the one
He
that
was
says the Panther, the Sex Panther.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yep.
I feel like that was like a takeout role for him.
But strike 1.
I don't know whether to go more mainstream or less mainstream.
I know. Isn't that fun? He's a good one.
I would
What?
love to learn more about the IMDb algorithm.
I don't
Yeah, me
think
too.
I'd want to, actually. I'm good.
Man. I'm gonna be really mad if it's other Marvel properties. It will break my heart. And I'm gonna refuse to guess them.
Oh fuck! I should have guessed those.
I'm not gonna guess them.
What's
Wet Hot American
also side
Summer.
note? Oh,
Wet Hot American Summer is strike 2.
Ugh.
I one time before we played a game and you let me look up faces, and I'm 99% sure I also looked up Paul Rudd on that one.
He's the one I pick
Poor
all the
Paul Rudd.
time.
Picture a white guy.
Now make
The
sure,
most
now
charming
imagine,
white guy you've ever
yeah,
met.
he opens door. Picture a white guy that opens doors for people on their way into like retail stores, and then picture him never aging. That's Paul Rudd.
Most charming white guy ever is an insult to Joel McHale.
Or Tom Hanks.
Joe McHale's not charming.
He's white guy charming.
He's just hot. He's not charming.
Yeah, white guy charming.
Yeah.
Fuck.
One more strike, Nate. Come on, you can do it.
40-year-old virgin.
Incorrect. The other two were I Love You Man and The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Wow, that fourth one still.
Yep.
I was between that and I Love You Man. I didn't know he was in Percival being a wallflower.
Me neither. Never seen it. Hers good. So it's 5-3. Jake is winning. Nate, your actor is Christian Bale. Again, you can look him up on Google Images if you need to.
Can I say Batman 1?
Yeah,
Alright.
that is correct.
Oh, you know how many Batman ones there are?
I always have trouble. I really do, legitimately. I can never remember if Batman the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises is 1 and 2, and it's caused me to lose games on this podcast in the
Well,
past.
I like how you named neither.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't named the first one yet, despite you.
Yeah, that's my problem. What the fuck is it?
Batman
what a
Begins.
nonsensical.
Yeah, it's the only one.
Well,
with
no,
Batman.
I feel a little dumber when the verb begins in there.
Yeah.
All right, Christian Bale.
So you got one.
Yep. We got Batman 1. We got... I feel like IMDb wants to branch out. Don't worry, Jake. I'm not going to give you Batman 2 if I get a strike. Let's do... Dallas Buyers Club.
No,
I don't
He's
like
also
how
not in
you
that.
did this.
he's not in that.
What?
No.
Yes, he is.
That's Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto.
Ah.
Yep.
Oh wait, I'm thinking of the film.
Nate,
now.
again, you could Google his face if you need help.
Shut up. I'm thinking of the other
So white
the
guy.
other skinny. I'm thinking of Christian Bale as skinny guy in
Mm-hmm.
war movie. Yeah.
That one's not one either. It's not counting as a strike, but that one's also not in there.
Whoa.
So you have 2 strikes.
Hey,
Wait, do you have 1 strike? You have 1 strike.
I only have 1 strike.
Yeah, you have 2 points.
Not bad.
Some
We
would
have
say
1 point.
1.5.
What do we do?
1.5. I just got that. And for the listener and viewer, it's Nate taking this long to guess. I'm not editing that out.
It is. That's why I'm incoherently mumbling to myself.
No, it helps if you mumble coherently. It's a podcast.
What could it be? What could it be? I'm trying to think of remember the name of the magician movie.
Oh yeah, that's not one either.
I can never think of it. Oh, this is great! I'm getting so many free tips.
It's the Prestige, and it's not one. Oh, wait till
Prestige
Jake's
is
up.
not on there. Okay.
Yeah.
What? No! I still got 2 strikes.
I know. I just said wait till Jake's up, as in like
okay.
it's from this movie we saw. It's called Cause and Effect.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see something that happened now matter later in story.
You're so annoying.
So there's this. I'll show you this clip after. There's this clip of the South Park guys talking about stories, and they say you should have beats that connect, and if your beats go and or therefore or
yeah,
but
that's what I was
those
making
are
fun
bad.
of you for
It's
when we were
therefore.
talking about the movie.
you need therefore this happens. This happens.
Yes!
Therefore this happens. Yeah. And I supplied the therefore through context, which you didn't do to the movie. That's why I liked it. You didn't. That's okay. Nate, what's your next Christian Bale guess?
You're about to.
Come.
Again, I swear to God, you're like talking in opposite land. That was the entire point I was making about the poisoning scene. Yeah, the sous chef poisoned the thing, therefore they fought, therefore he stabbed it, but it had nothing to do with why we saw that.
Nate,
all right.
I'm going to remind you, we're in the game portion of this podcast.
You brought it up, bitch!
I made a joke. That's my job.
Look, the longer Nate stalls, the more free answers you give him.
I'm free. Yeah, that's very true.
All right.
I'm still free associating in my head.
If you don't give me a movie in 15 seconds, I'm giving you a strike.
All right, I'm pretty sure Batman 2's on there.
It is. Batman 2 is on there. You have 2 points.
All right, how long does that buy me?
15 more seconds.
Shit,
Yeah.
that's not fair.
It's like
you
a
gotta be
chess
consistent
clock.
here.
I am. It's like a chess clock. As soon as Jake takes 20 minutes to answer, I'll give him a chess clock too.
Cam. Oh, habit.
Oh man, there's no way he listens to these, right?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh fuck. Well, now I've blanked my brain out.
5,
Come on,
4.
Christian Bale, American Psycho.
Correct. 3. You have 3 of them, right? I wasn't keeping counting. That would be funny. You have 3 correct with 1 strike. Do you want to bank or do you want to guess again?
I only have 1 strike. Why would I beg?
I don't know. Then guess again.
I'm not afraid
idiot.
of humiliation.
Then guess again.
All right, fine. Just to make sure, Batman 3.
No. 2 strikes.
Didn't think so. I'll bank.
All right, Jake. Do you have an answer for Christian?
I don't have a guess, Nate. Nate didn't even guess all my guesses. You guessed some of them. I was, but then no, they weren't.
No, they weren't.
I'm mad the Prestige isn't on
Yeah,
there.
me too.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say Batman 3 wasn't on there, and I would have got the Prestige eventually, and then been wrong.
Yeah.
That's exactly what would have
That
happened.
was what was coming to a head. Yeah. It was American Hustle.
Okay.
So it is now 6-5 going into the second to last category.
Penultimate.
The penultimate, if you will. Jake is up. Jake, your director is Christopher Nolan.
Okay. Batman.
Incorrect.
1.
That is a strike.
Wait. Okay. Oppenheimer.
Strike
Fucking
2.
IMDb. Oh.
You're kidding me.
I'm
Strike
surprised.
2.
I'm trying to think of the one I've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like my brother's favorite movie, and I still haven't seen
Is it about like a missing person? In the
It's
winter?
It's like a space.
Oh, yeah, that one's on there. If you can think of that one's name, it's on there.
Interstellar.
That is one.
Okay.
You have 2 strikes, right?
I'm
All
banking.
right, banking.
I'll bank my 1.
Nate, 3 guesses, 3 strikes.
Inception.
I'd say. Inception is on there. That's good.
Oh, fuck me.
Memento.
Strike 1.
All right. Tenet.
That is correct. That is 2 points.
What else would there be? I feel like I'm gonna feel like a fool because one of the. No, I'll just guess Batman 2.
Incorrect. It was The Prestige.
All right. Well, I still had a.
Oh.
I still had a
Oh.
strike.
That's too bad.
You prick.
It was The
Too
Prestige.
bad.
I was paying attention.
You weren't guessing the
No, you
Prestige.
weren't.
I
No, you
literally referenced the Prestige in the last round.
No, I thought that's why I was.
Oh, you mean when you couldn't come up with a name and Ben told you?
But that
I would've
Nate,
gotten there.
Nate, but if you would have gotten that, that would have mean that something previously would have had to happen that then mattered later on.
I can't wait to see your
So it's
person
like
to
a
beat
cause
you
and
up.
effect.
All right, Jake.
Cause and effect.
Good thing I won't remember this.
Yeah, but this
Otherwise
time
I'll be
it'll
like,
make
"This
sense
is
what my
stupid.
motivations
Why
were."
are you doing this? It is 8-7 after that. Yeah, 8-7.
I believe
8
you.
to 7. Jake is up.
Jake can't remember because he
First.
didn't earn any of the points.
I earned
Half.
several of those.
All right, Jake. The actress is Jennifer Lawrence.
This is the last round, right?
That is correct.
And for the viewers at home, Jake's going first twice in a row.
Because he's
Without any
losing.
explanation or build-up.
It's been whoever's losing every time goes first.
Yeah.
Have you not noticed that path?
I have not noticed that pattern.
Yeah, it's been whoever's losing.
That's in fact that's how every game we've ever played.
Bullshit! We flip back and forth all the time.
Most times
and we
it's
just
Jake.
happen to flip back and forth
Yeah.
because of this contrived circumstance in which you were beating me in the first
It
round.
means I'm better at making games now. That's what it means.
And you're still winning.
You are getting better.
But we'll s-
All right, Jake.
There's absolutely no... I'm only not mad because there's no way you're going to beat me. I'm beating Jennifer Lawrence.
Damn. Shots fired. All right, go.
I will beat you if there's 3 Hunger Games movies in the top 4. Let's go. What was Hunger Games 1?
That one is on there. That's 1 point.
Hunger
so
Games
you're now
2.
tied. Hunger Games 2 is not on there. That's strike 1.
Oh, chink
Hunger
in the
Games
armor.
3.
That is strike 2.
Silver Linings Playbook.
That is on there. You're now ahead by
Absolutely
1.
on there.
Bank.
That's all I got.
Bank.
I
All right, 3 strikes, Nate. Can you get 1 to tie, 1 to win,
X-Men
2
First
to
Class.
win? That is the exact name, and I was going to take X-Men. So that's well done. That's a point.
damn. Okay.
What else?
I might
What
have
else?
come up with that, but I was so
It is now
pumped
tied.
about Silver Linings
It
Playbook.
is tied.
There's one other major franchise or major movie that I associate Jennifer Lawrence with.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of
She disappeared for a while.
disappeared.
Yeah, she just came out with a new movie.
It's
It
hilarious.
looks
I heard.
interesting. It looks really good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
we
fun.
haven't watched it yet. None of us know the name of it, but go check it out. She
Um,
tries to bang a young guy.
Yeah, it's hilarious looking. No hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
I was looking at IMDb trying to think of it. Oh, all right. I'm on her page. All right, Nate. You have
I have 2 strikes left. To
2
be
strikes
clear.
left. Yep.
We know it's not a Hunger Games. I don't think they're going to put 2 X-Men, but I don't want to guess it either way. We did Silver Linings Playbook. There's something else.
Or did we?
There's something else that I'm going to feel like an idiot
Yep.
for not thinking of. What is it?
Man. This is tough, huh?
Shut up.
Having a hard time. This is Nate's thinking face. He actually feels threatened this game.
I'm just tired of
If you
Jake
want to see
winning on
more of Nate's
technicalities.
thinking, whoa. technically.
Name a game. Yeah, technically, you have won some games.
This one's about to be straight up.
No, it's not.
What, 3 points at the beginning you think matters? Whatever.
We're currently tied 8-8.
Yeah. Go ahead. You went first, by the way. So you're complaining about him going last is stupid. Passengers is strike 2.
Ooh. I'm not even playing against Jake. I'm playing against myself because I know there's something that I'm not thinking of.
This guy's philosophical in these games. You know that?
Man.
You're playing the id and the ego.
But how are we supposed to guess your motivation?
Yeah, it's not like I can see your face and see how exacerbated you are. Go ahead. 1 minute.
Yeah.
If you fill dead air, I don't care how long you take. But if you sit there in silence, I'm going to give you 15 seconds.
All right, so I just have to talk.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right.
Take as long as you want.
Picturing Jennifer
ASMR.
Lawrence's face.
Ooh.
Jennifer Lawrence. It's
Jennifer
been so long.
Aniston's ass.
Jennifer Lawrence.
We will create the perfect Jennifer. Jennifer Lopez.
Ooh.
I'd be so upset.
Taco flavor kisses for my babe.
She was in like 4 of them.
She was.
But there's no way it was that.
Nah, I don't think so. It's not X-Men.
It was definitely something.
X-Men 3.
Action-y.
Quit giving him hints. This is why he stalls.
I didn't even hear him.
Because you get twitchy and you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's not.
This is a psychological game, Jake. Alright, I don't want to hear any complaints from the guy who literally passed up free guesses for no reason.
Whoa.
You literally passed up free guesses.
He knew his limits.
Look,
unlike you,
some of us take free guesses. Some of us take free points.
Some of us get on the
At the end of the day, no one's.
Some of us
cheating.
get on the
Are
toilet.
you arguing that by giving up early, you're banking pity for the next game?
Listen, sit.
Some would say pity. Some would say karma.
You can sit on the toilet and wait 30 minutes to shit, and nothing comes out, and your legs get numb, and you fall into the bathtub as you're getting.
That's
numb.
exactly how
Or
I feel right now.
You can sit down, not feel it, wipe, nothing there. I'm out. Your call.
I think you need to consult a doctor. I give up. I can't think of it.
All right, we're tied now. It's
Why are you?
what is it? Jake, what were you gonna say?
Why are you wiping if nothing happened?
You gotta like double check, like, did it?
That's a great question.
Have I been sitting here too long? It's American Hustle, which Nate, earlier we talked about American Hustle. That was something that happened before right now, and it seems like like a not necessary plot point. But right now, it makes it really fun.
Everyone,
because we said it earlier.
The 2 people who watch these, please comment. Go back and smash. I'm so fucking tired of this. This is you argue for movies in the same way you're arguing against me. You just talk confidently. You're so full of shit.
It's like you figured it out.
USA, USA.
Oh my god!
Sorry for wanting to talk about the movie.
Wait, hang on. Do you want to hear the most American tweet of all time?
Absolutely.
Only if it's from Trump.
As reported by ESPN 1000 just now, the shooting at Guaranteed Rate Field during a White Sox game, step 1, was indeed an accidental discharge by one of the women grazed by the bullet, step 2. She reportedly snuck the gun in past metal detectors, wait for it, by hiding it in the folds of her belly fat. Dude, American Pie, baseball, and guns. That's all we got right there.
I'm gonna reveal some scientific ignorance. I didn't know that you could block out metal detectors.
I don't think she blocked it out. I think that she made it. She hid it, and they didn't want to look.
Oh,
at
and they
folds.
just
They were
gave up.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So, and granted, this is a much smaller scale because it's, semi-pro. But when I go to the Omaha Union soccer games, I set off the metal detector almost every time. And then they give me a half-assed wand, and they say, go on. I could easily take a weapon into one of those games.
Yeah.
Every time I go through
theater.
security, I think that.
Yeah, it's security theater, 100%. Nate,
You're definitely on a list now, though, Jake.
Nate, I'm thinking
one of our listeners is an NSA. That's one of our only listeners.
Yeah. Nate, I have fingers held in front of me here. Are they odd or even?
Even.
They are. Do you want to go first in the tiebreaker or second?
Yes.
you want to go first or second?
I want to go first.
Okay. Give me an actor, actress, or director.
That feels like a trap.
Magician's choice.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr.
Okay. Jake, give me a
I respect
number
it.
1 through 4.
Two, because it's the worst Iron Man.
2. Now you have to go back and forth, giving me which one is known for in the second spot for Robert Downey Jr. Nate, you get to go first. Go ahead and guess. Keep going until somebody gets it. That's our tiebreaker. Nate, you're up first.
Yep. I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, just checking. Couldn't see if that was your thinking face.
Avengers 1.
Incorrect. Jake,
Iron Man
which one?
1.
Incorrect. Nate?
Dr. Dolittle.
Incorrect. Jake?
Iron Man 3.
Correct. Jake wins. Iron Man
Ugh.
3. That
Always skip Iron Man 2.
No, it was so funny when you said it's Iron Man 2, the worst one. I was like, I think Iron Man 3 is the worst one, so I almost started laughing when you said it's the worst one. I was like, holy shit, he guessed it already. Freaked out. That's our game. We hope you enjoyed it. Jake won yet again. Classic Jake. Let's leave everybody with a quick outro and then some things that we recommend that they see. Thanks for listening to our episode today. I'd like to thank our guests for joining us, Nate and Jake, as always. If you are new here, please give us a follow and a subscribe on YouTube or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It does help out. And if you're watching our shorts, please follow us on Rum and Cinema on TikTok. Now for recommendations. Nate, Jake, who wants to go first?
I don't know if I can recommend it. I've started watching The 100.
Oh, yeah.
It was after finishing Silo.
Okay.
And I'm like, I want more apocalyptic sci-fi kind of stuff. I don't know. It's fine.
Okay.
There's a lot of it. I'm enjoying it as having it as the show that's on.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Am I sitting in a dark room with a big screen and watching this show? No. Am I enjoying it as it's on while I do other stuff? Yes.
I like it. I like it.
you
We need that
watched-
kind too.
What's it called? Have you watched Station 11 yet?
No.
I recommended that.
Oh, he doesn't listen to the
Son of a
podcast.
bitch.
Is that the... Because I know Kelly was talking about one too, and I forgot the name of it.
Don't know, but Station 11 is worth a watch.
Nice.
Oh, it's on HBO
Sure
too?
is. The Max.
All right. I'll give it
Max
a shot.
Attack. Nate, do you have a
Attack.
do you have a more general recommendation for the audience, or do you want to also do that again?
No, I do. Well, it's a little late to the game, I'll say. But we finally just started watching Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
And it's incredible.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think we didn't get around to it because it's on Hulu, and we
Yep.
just finally actually got Hulu. But yeah, fucking Atlanta. It's way funnier than I thought it was gonna be from the trailer. Like, obviously, it's gonna be funny with Donald Glover, but I thought like the comedy was gonna kind of be on the side, and it was gonna be more about. It came across as more dramatic, but like so far, 6 episodes in, it's fucking hilarious the
Yes.
whole way through.
Yes.
So yeah, loving that. That's all we're watching for the next like month.
It's a great show. I think it just ended too.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna end this season, something like that.
Yeah, it started in 2016. It's got 4 seasons. I don't know if COVID affected that, but I think it's done.
Nice.
So
That's it.
yeah,
Atlanta. Good choice.
yeah, it's great.
Other-
Yeah,
Great FX on Hulu show.
yep.
It's good shit. Nice. I have an anti-recommendation. I will save you 4 hours. The untold sports documentaries on Netflix are usually really good. The one on the Florida Gators is bullshit, trash. It's the fact
The
that
fuck are the 48ers?
the Florida Gators, sorry,
Oh.
the 48ers. They're the 49ers minor league team. Yeah, the 48ers.
Yeah, I was like, they can't do that, can they?
No, the Florida Gators. It's all told. It's a really interesting story, or it should be, because it involves people like Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Aaron Hernandez, Urban Meyer, like all these people that are kind of like more generally known outside of football. And Urban Meyer, as soon as I saw him being interviewed, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a puff piece, and it kind of was a puff piece. They like ignored most of the bad stuff, made everyone look really good that was there, and it was garbage. I hated it, and I would not recommend watching it. And I think the internet seems to agree that they wanted more out of this special documentary. Like, we were all pumped for it. And then it was trash, so that was too bad. But yeah, avoid that. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed our episode today. Go watch Hunger on Netflix. It's a really fun movie. And go check out these other recommendations from these folks. Thanks for joining us as always. Enjoy your rum. Enjoy your cinema. We'll see you next time.